Welcome back out of the Grand Prix studio this day. This was the fourth race day, 2016 Gliding Grand Prix Austria, and we had one of the most, intense races in glider racing in Austria. Task distance 403 kilometers via 4 turning points. We started in Niederöblan, Spital am Pyhrn, Obervellach in Carinthia, Gerlosstadam, which is the border between Salzburg and Tyrol, and back to Trautenfels-Schloss as the mandatory reporting point, and back to the finish. So this was one of the biggest tasks flown in Austria in a gliding Grand Prix, and the weather situation was quite good forecasted, and it did as the meteorologist said. So we had high cloud bases, we had light winds, and some overdevelopments later in the day, and so it was quite a good day for proper soaring. We had almost everybody completing. Well, everybody was completing the task. A few were a bit slow because they did something very special, and now we see the start of the race. We have one penalty just straight ahead with Mike 3. He was about 6 seconds ahead, so he got 130 penalty points for the time, and apart from that, the start was fine. Some of them were a bit higher and a bit too fast. The maximum altitude was 2,500 meters this time, with maximum 170 kph speed over the start line. Everybody is going to the first turning point, mostly in the same way. There was nothing really special. A few pilots were just going on. Mike 3, he was going ahead with Whiskey Golf, Alpha Golf. Nothing really special, and we can see everybody's coming together and they're flying the same heights and same altitudes. It was a quite balanced race this time. As you can see later, everybody was just going the classic route in the north to the first turning point, Spital am Pyhrn, which is just a beam of the main valley. And as you can see, Whiskey Golf is close to turn, same as Bravo Tango, and they're just hiding a bit. Echo Delta Echo come in from a slightly different area, and everybody, now a slight group is now splitting, and they're just crossing now. And I thought this could be maybe giving them a big advantage later in the race. There's a Sierra India Yankee 4 India Kilo, and they are just crossing the area now towards the south, and a group of other gliders staying in the north. Basically, during this time of the day, the northern side is mainly faster because you have lower ground level, slightly better thermals, and actually quite good height. As you can see, Sierra 2 is doing quite good. Alpha Golf Didier and Oscar Delta, they were staying in the north and just crossing now, and both sides, the north and the south, were mostly within the same speed, and everybody's coming together. So look at the heights now. We are having Yankee 4 coming up at highest at the moment. He's now getting over 3,000 meters and even more. Yankee 4, look at him, 3,800 meters is coming forward. Everybody is just now established above 3,000 meters. And Yankee 4 is now shooting to the track point 2. Everybody's quite together, and you can see some of those pilots are staying slightly south. It's not a really big advantage. They're a bit lower than the others. The others they're flying a bit higher. Yankee 4 was the first on the second turn point, and everybody is coming closer and is now turning in the next few minutes, and Yankee 4 is slightly ahead. and he got a few very, very nice thermals, especially on the leg to track point 2. He did a height of 4,000 meters. It was actually expected, having a high cloud base than that. The airspace was open up to 4,250 meters, as far as I remember. And then we see quite interesting leg. It was quite a scenic area here. Everybody was quite stunned about the area, and the track line, as you can see, is leading over the highest peaks and the highest areas in Austria. And a tiny group, Echo Juliet and Yankee 4, they're taking it slightly in the south, while everybody else is just staying on the main divide and going for, yeah, more or less the scenic route. Look at the guys in the north: Whiskey Oscar, Wolfgang Janowicz, Oscar Tango, Klaus Kalmbach and Didier Haus, also Luka Schnidersic. They are thinking to go in the north, which was probably not a bad idea. But because we had a slight southwesterly drift and even the sun from the southwest this time, I think the southerly route was slightly faster, but everybody else was aiming for the high peaks, for the Großglockner area with the highest peak of Austria, 3,798 meters to get it right. And as you can see, they had pretty good fun, especially Sierra India, Sierra 2, father and son, Simon and Robbie Schröder. Bravo Tango is racing the ridges, and all the others, they stay in the north because they are much higher over the terrain and try to get good climbs. Yankee 4 Oscar Delta, Mike 3, Echo Juliet, they're staying in the south. They're flying on the south route around the Großglockner area, try to find the passes to cross into the north again along the main divide here. Sufficient height. Bravo Tango is just breaking off a bit to the spur, and everybody is meeting together more or less at the same height and same distance to track point 3. Look at this. It's a quite balanced race actually, and it's every single route was quite clearly marked, and the cloud bases were good and high, so there was no risk really. And they're now racing to the turning point 3. A few slightly behind: Whiskey Oscar, Didier, Alpha Golf, Oscar Tango, also Bravo Tango, slightly lower than the others. And Yankee 4 is taking the turn: Oscar Delta, Echo Juliet, Whiskey Golf, Sierra 2, Mike 3, Sierra India, Sierra 2, father and son together. And I'll remind you about Sierra 2. He was flying a LS8 actually, just a 80-meter unflapped glider, and really took advantage. Everybody had the same wing loading with 49 kgs per square meter. And here you can see everybody's coming together again on those climbs. Here I've been from the Krimmel area. This is the Pinzgau, and from there on it's about 140 k's back to the airfield. And now you can see the first few pilots are going ahead and just aiming for the final glide from this distance. And Whiskey Golf Werner Ammann from Western Austria, Sierra India, Simon Schröder, Oscar Delta, India Kilo, Andy Lutz, and Oscar Delta, the Heimo Dämmerer, are on their way back home. And now it's getting really sharp, and they're trying to get onto final glide, and they're just taking energy lines. The sun is now shining from behind. Slightly southerly drifts, but not much wind. A few overdevelopments on the main divide. Mike 3 is now trying to fly differently. He is the guy with the glider with less performance, Old Ventus 2 in 15 meters. But anyway, he's doing a good race with this little glider. As you can see here, it looks a bit of chaos, but it isn't. And everybody is just taking the climb up to 3,000 meters, and they're heading towards Niederöblan. Still 85 Ks to go for the leading group, and it's quite balanced still. Whiskey Golf a bit ahead, Sierra 2, Sierra India, India Kilo, Yankee 4, Oscar Delta, and they're all flying a really balanced race here. Whiskey Golf is taking a slightly different route further in the north. As you can see, they just managed to go higher. Whiskey Golf is still on final glide, the others another 500 meters higher. Look at Sierra India, he's very high. Well done, those guys, really nice. And then they caught him again. They don't need to turn here, they fly further. Whiskey Golf is ahead. That's a really sharp race, really nice. Another 50 Ks to go, and here in the area you can see in the far distance the Grimming, and they need to go to track point 4, which is about 7 Ks east of the airport, airfield of Niederöblan, and now Whiskey Golf is pushing it. He's an ASG 29, Sierra India is also an ASG 29, Echo Juliet in the JS1, Yankee 4 in a Ventus 2 CX 18, and Oscar Delta in an old Ventus 2C, and India Kilo in the 2CX. So it's quite a balanced final glide here. Whiskey Golf is trying to take advantage with his glider. Echo Juliet is slightly behind, and now look at this final glide, the final race. Really nice. He just got the last turning point without penalties. Echo Juliet is coming closer and is also aiming for the turn now. Sierra India, Sierra 2, remind Sierra 2 is flying the LS8, and Yankee 4 and Oscar Delta are coming also. And now Whiskey Golf is making it quite clear that he will win the day. And Echo Juliet a second, and father and son racing now, Sierra 2, Sierra India, because Sierra 2 did a quite good job with the LS8. He just stayed a bit higher, tried to get more energy lines back home, and so he overtook all the others. Or actually his son. He became first anyway yesterday, so he had good fun. Sierra 2 in the finish, Yankee 4, Sierra India, Oscar Delta, India Kilo, they all got Grand Prix points. Yeah. Just a nice day, just a nice race. It was really warm on the ground. We had a lot of spectators around, and it was quite a relaxed day on the ground. Quite hot actually. Whiskey Oscar is also coming, and Mike 3, Lima Victor, and the other group with Didier House. Well, he was on the podium yesterday, but he was probably more on the scenic flight, we can say. Mike 3 coming up, Lima Victor, Bravo Tango, the Swiss guy, Werner Danz with the Antares 18, and everybody's coming back home safely. A few penalties because of low arrivals, but basically all fine. The biggest penalty of the day was Mike 3 with the too early start, and here we have Papa Kilo, Lima Zulu, Delta India Delta, and Alpha Golf. And last but not least, the other guys are also coming in. Max, Golf Golf, and Oscar Tango, and even Echo Delta Echo. And we're speeding it up now. Echo Delta Echo is still on the third turning point, but I think he was enjoying the race most, because he had a really interesting flight also in the south, and everybody's now coming home here from those guys, and Echo Delta Echo as well on the way back home. Yeah, that was a great day. Thank you for the organizers, thank you for everybody just making this race possible. I thank you for the race director Ludwig Stakel and the meteorologist Hermann Trimmel. They did a quite good job and a good task setting, and I say thank you and would say goodbye for the time.